Hello, if you are a beginner and you wonder how shading works to create realistic skin tones or realistic shadows, but you don't have any idea and your drawing still looks flat and not 3D or three-dimensional, then this tutorial video is exactly for you because I'm going to show you how shadows work, how tonal values, and why is it important to use at least three shades of pencils to create something like this. If you're interested, watch this tutorial video and I'm going to show you how tonal values work. But of course, everything starts with the proper proportion or outline of the drawing because this is a realistic style. You may not need this kind of an outline method for other styles, but for realism you want it to look as real as possible. So what I do is this. I just divided my reference photo into four and then I get the middle part, and then what I do is I want to make a little smaller than the reference photo, so I put a cross in the middle, and what I do is I just reduce the edges equally to make just the correct proportion but smaller than the reference photo. So now I have this smaller square right here because of the crisscross, the X that I put. I was able to lesser the size of the reference into a smaller drawing because I realized that my reference is too big. So now I'm gonna just use my judgment here. I just wanna divide the four squares into smaller squares, even smaller squares, to make a more nicer and a more accurate proportion. Now I'm gonna just draw the outline of the eyes, including the eyebrows up to the eye bags and then the edge of the eyes right here in this like trapezoid shape right here. And I'm just gonna draw this outline into my drawing paper, exactly where the position of these lines on this smaller but the same proportion square right here. So this is what I'm gonna do, including the nose and the lips. Just place where the basic eyes, nose, and lips into the paper, because trust me, that is the most important thing that you need to get. This is a little bit more controversial still at this day and age when it comes to people saying that it's like cheating or something like that, but it's not. For me, if your style is realism, you want to be able to capture the likeness of your reference, you want to be able to get commission portraits from people who want their picture to look exactly like them. So this is not a bad idea. This is part of the process. This is part of the artistic process. But let me hear from you about your opinion about these outline methods, the grid methods, tracing method that artists are doing. Is it really part of the artistic process, or do you believe this is cheating or something like that? But personally, I don't. This is just a method where you want your outline to look like this. It's so nice to be able to capture the real likeness because this is realism. Now I'm gonna show you how I did. I started already with the left eye. Now I'm gonna show you on the right eye how I did it using three shades of pencil. Now I start with my darkest pencil. This is charcoal, the dark charcoal. If you are using graphite, this maybe is like the 5B to 8B or even darker. Trust me, you really need super dark pencils to achieve contrast. It is important for realism to achieve contrast. The super dark in relation with your light colors, because if you just use one grade of pencil, your drawing will look flat and not realistic at all, not appealing at all. Now this green pencil, this is my mid pencil. I use it for the mid-tone. So this is the mid-tone is the majority actually of the drawing, the shade that you're going to do, because this will reflect the overall tone of the drawing. And you can observe right now the difference in tone with the dark pencil and the mid-tone. See, the mid-tone is considerably lighter but not really light. So in terms of graphite, the mid-tone will have to be your B up to 3B, 2B and 3B. That can be considered as your mid-tone. Now this gray pencil right here, in charcoal term, this is the light or the hard pencil. This is for your very light shadows, and you can also use it as a blender. It will blend the dark and the mid to create a nice smooth texture of your drawing. But essentially this is for super light shadows that has to be reflected on your drawing to achieve realism. Okay, so now what's this that I'm using. Oh, this is a pencil eraser. I'm using it for some details of the drawing, even the needed eraser. You need it to adjust the tone or the highlights of the drawing right here, and for also from some highlighted details. So the idea of this tutorial is to show you that it's important to observe the behavior of the shadows, the relationship of the shadows. We have the dark, the mid, and the light. So that is exactly what these three pencils are all about. It's about making the dark super dark, like you can see the eyebrows right there, and the part of the eyeball, and this part, the what do you call it, some parts, the hair, eyebrows right here that I'm drawing. I decided to use the mid pencil for the eyebrows, or rather the eyelashes, because they are not too dark based on my reference photo. Now now what I do here is layer the pencil, blend it using soft makeup brush, and then layer again, and then use like a tortillon or a paper blender just to make everything smoother and nice. Now for the nostrils, I decided to use the violet. Again, is my darkest pencil, and here the line of the mouth right here is super dark also, usually on all portraits, so I use the dark. Now the mid pencil, the green, the mid pencil naman, is I use it on the edges of the nose. You don't want them to be too dark, you just want them to just like reflect a darker shadow compared to the rest of the skin tone. Okay, so and then I'm softening the outlines right here using this green pencil. So again, using different shades. With graphite, there are several shades ranging from H pencil to the B to the 8B to the 10B to the 14B. You don't need all the shades. You just requires for graphite at least 5 shades. You have to have an H, an HB, a B, 5B or 8B. So anything that ranges from very light to very dark. But for charcoal pencils, which is very nice. Actually, this is a new charcoal pencil that I'm using right now, and I'm loving it. This is the Kuelox brand charcoal pencil. Very cheap charcoal pencil, but very nice in making skin tones with the proper tonal values right here. Now this is the gray pencil. This is the very light pencil. It is the light charcoal or the neutral pencil. I use it for super light shadows like here on the side of the nose. This is usually very delicate shadow, very important, because if we use dark here, it will look like dirt, it will look like a mess. But because we are using a very nice light shadow right here, you can see that can you see it? Look at her eyes right there. This is a combination of dark, mid, and super light pencil right here that I'm using right now. Her lips is very nice and delicate. Okay, so now I love this pencil. Why is it very cheap but very nice pencil? The Kuelox, the same brand with the sprayer, the fixative spray. I didn't know that they have a charcoal, but yeah. But the idea here is to blend, to make skin tone with different values. Okay, can you see how nice and smooth, and how the relationship of every shadows? Usually the mid tones and the light tones are on the nose part right here, and it's really nice and delicate, and the dark parts are usually on the eyes right there. Okay, this is the Casimir rubbing tool to make everything a little bit more smoother right there. So I don't know if you get the idea of this video. As a beginner, the importance of using not just one or two pencils. Use different grades of pencil to reflect a nice tonal value of a drawing to make it look really nice and realistic right here. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section. Thank you for watching.